La Faute de l'Abbé Mouret is the fifth novel in Emile Zola's Rugenmakert series. This novel explores themes of religion, nature, and sin through the story of Serge Mouret, a young, devout, and ascetic priest, and his confrontation with the forces of nature and temptation. The story takes place in a small Provençal village where Serge Mouret, the son of François Mouret and Martha Rugen, serves as the local priest. From the outset, Serge is depicted as an extremely pious priest, almost mystical in his devotion. He dedicates himself entirely to his faith, to the point of neglecting his health and repressing all forms of carnal desire. However, Serge falls gravely ill and, after a prolonged period of unconsciousness, is sent to recuperate in an isolated place called Le Paradou, an abandoned estate overrun by lush vegetation. There, he is cared for by Albine, a young, innocent woman who lives in this wild garden. Cut off from the world and his religious duties, Serge gradually regains his health but also reconnects with his natural instincts and repressed emotions. In this paradisiacal setting, Serge and Albine inevitably grow closer. Albine, who embodies purity and nature, introduces Serge to the beauty of the natural world, and gradually they fall in love. Their relationship culminates when they consummate their love in a symbolic scene reminiscent of the Adam and Eve myth, which constitutes Serge's sin in the eyes of the Church. After this act, Serge is consumed by guilt. Feeling betrayed by his own nature and instincts, he abandons Albine and returns to his religious duties, resuming his asceticism. Albine, devastated by his abandonment, withers away and eventually takes her own life by allowing herself to be smothered by the vegetation of Le Paradou. The novel concludes on a tragic note. Despite his struggle against his feelings, Serge is condemned to live with the memory of his sin. Albine, a symbol of nature and life, is sacrificed on the altar of religion. Serge resumes his role as a priest, more rigid and mortified than ever, while nature, represented by Le Paradou, remains indifferent to the human tragedy that has unfolded there. La Faute de l'Abbé Mouret is a deeply symbolic novel, where Zola contrasts nature with religion, instinct with spirituality, and life with death. The character of Serge Mouret is torn between his religious duty, which preaches mortification and the rejection of earthly pleasures, and the irresistible force of nature, which calls for life and love. Le Paradou, with its lush vegetation and isolation from the world, represents an earthly Eden, a place where nature is free and wild, in stark contrast to the rigidity and repression of religion. The relationship between Serge and Albine illustrates the conflict between these two forces. Religion demands renunciation, while nature urges the fulfillment of vital instincts. The novel can also be read as a critique of the Catholic Church and its oppressive influence on individuals. Zola shows how religion, by imposing strict rules and repressing natural instincts, can lead to suffering and destruction. Albine's death is particularly symbolic. She embodies life and nature, but she is destroyed by the destructive power of religious guilt. La Faute de l'Abbé Mouret is thus a work in which Zola explores the tensions between the sacred and the profane, between desire and repression, while offering a critique of the alienating influence of religion on human life. It is a novel that blends Zola's naturalism with elements of symbolism and mythology, creating a work rich in meaning and emotion.